guys, Ron here, and the last time I did this you guys loved it, so once again I brought together 3 other artists, gave them a prompt, and we all had to create a new 2-stage family of Pokemon that embodies the description I gave them, which was normal to abnormal. Their job was to make a normal type Pokemon that evolves into a Pokemon with a completely different type. Now we're finally going to reveal our Fakemon to you guys and each other. Let me introduce these amazing artists. Once again, we have Tom from the channel Moxie2D, Jack from Subjectively, and new to the series is UmbreonLibris, who loves to redesign Pokemon on his underrated YouTube channel. Check the description for the links to their channels. Virgolifus did such an amazing job last time, so I'm sure she'll be back on the channel very soon. Now let's finally see the results. But before that, consider leaving a like if you enjoy, so I know to make part 3, and check out my Pokemon art playlist, which has tons of videos like this one where I create new Pokemon. Alright, I'll go first, since I went last time. I'm very excited for this one. So I basically wanted to make a Pokemon based on an animal that seemed relatively mythical, almost like a hybrid between 2 animals, but was also very normal. The first form kind of looks like just a normal animal, and then it evolves into what I imagine a mythical form of that animal would be. So I based my Pokemon on the Okapi.
Okapi. Ooh, okay, yeah. Awesome animal. Awesome animal.
So it's basically what, like a short-necked giraffe with zebra stripes, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, half zebra.
Exactly. So I always thought that its stripes were mysterious. Like it has like a potential for like something more. So what I made was a normal baby Okapi Pokemon whose stripes actually become important once it evolves. So I'll talk about that once we show that. Almost like its evolution reveals the full potential, right? So I wanted this Pokemon to have all the traits of an Okapi, but with way cuter proportions. It's a small guy. Now originally its features were almost like that of a deer, because I wanted it to be incredibly cute and majestic, but then I realized that the whole point of this thing is to look unassuming and relatively average, yet mysterious, so I made its face more donkey-like. It'll have these tiny horns, very small but strong-looking legs, and pretty much the stripes that an Okapi would have, but in a much more minimal Pokemon style. I originally gave it this spot on its chest that is reminiscent of a bell on a collar, but I thought that it conflicted with the entire design scheme, so I'll change it later. I thought making it black and white kind of made it look too much like a zebra, so I made it browner and changed the facial pattern to look less empty. It coincidentally looked like tribal face paint, which definitely works since its evolution will have some Congo inspiration, but it wasn't planned. Here is Okapure.
Oh, no way.
Oh, that's so cute.
Adorable.
So, it's a rare Pokemon that can be found deep in the jungle, and it's incredibly friendly and forgiving, but can hit very hard when threatened. They're very naive, which makes it tough for these Pokemon to grow up in the wild, and a wild Okapure cannot evolve. Once it's caught by a trainer, this Pokemon displays a lot of affection, and they tend to become a little too reliant on their trainer and sometimes lash out when they're alone, but they'll immediately calm down in the presence of their trainer. So yeah, the evolved form is not in the wild.
Interesting.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's literally an Okapi. Like
I love the premise of a Pokemon that's not like a legendary or like a mythical or even a pseudo-legendary, but they're just kind of hard to find. You know, those are always sort of my favorite. I think of like Tropius, Absol, one of those Pokemon where like you encounter, like as a kid, you don't know how to find it exactly, but you encounter it and you're like, what is this thing? Is this a roaming legendary? Like, what is this thing? What am I seeing right now? And I get the feeling that this is going to kind of go in that direction, you know, very strange, like an Okapi in real life, which is really cool.
I like the that color scheme with the eyes and that little pop of pink in the ear. It's like there is going to be something special about this just because of how drastic the eye colors are. I'm like ready for something to happen, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think you did a really good job with the art too. That's like what I'm really impressed by. Both of the execution of the art and also the design. To me, this looks like a real Pokemon. It could have been revealed on Sunday.
I don't know how you guys just do the Pokemon art style, like just the way you paint variation in color. It just looks exactly like the actual art. I don't know how you do it every time.
I think this series really did help me step up. Because like now I have like rivals almost, so I'm like, I really need to make it look more and more like.
I gotta step mine up. Mine doesn't look enough like official art.
But it's crazy how like even if it doesn't, like it's still like it's not about like the final art. It's more about just how the shapes and the rendering mimic real life Pokemon. I really like how you can feel the potential in this Pokemon.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's what I want.
Yeah, for sure.
So while the Prevo is just a straight up Okapi, I want this evolved form to have the proportions of something between an Okapi and giraffe. I'll sketch the body first before adding the fantastical details on top of it. I want to make sure it has a sinister face and pointier horns. The whole concept is that when it evolves, this Pokemon becomes primal and dangerous. Its mind is pretty bad, but the stripes on its body have grown outwards and formed an exoskeleton that wraps around its limbs like a collar. This exoskeleton has a mind of its own and will basically restrain this wild beast whenever it rampages. It'll be a dark type, but the magical bottom half also makes it a fairy type. Almost as if it's a fantastical beast with forest powers. So I also wanted to make this exoskeleton look like white branches, but took inspiration from Congo patterns as well. The final design is browner and more natural looking. Okay, the evolved form is Okaperil.
Oh, I really
the
like
way
that.
that wraps around the neck is like the
Yeah.
coolest thing I've ever seen. Holy
Oh, that's
crap.
really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So Okaperil evolves once you release an Okapure into the wild. After a day in real time, it will return to your PC fully evolved. So
What?
Oh,
that's yeah. I want to see that in the game.
I love that idea. Oh, that is such a clever way to do that. Interesting, very interesting.
So it's now a dark fairy type. So when you send a trained Okapure back into the wild, its survival instincts like kick in, triggering evolution. And Okaperil is driven by primal instinct and makes reckless decisions. Immediately after evolving, it begins to only think of itself and its desires. So the stripes on Okaperil have grown out of its body, like they extrude out and form like a protective shield that not only fortifies it but restrains it like a collar. This exoskeleton is imbued with like natural aura that restrains the Pokemon's terrible actions, and when this Pokemon gives into its impulses, the exoskeleton will begin to like tighten like a collar, calming it down. And yeah, it's just it's thought that like the armor is like has a mind of its own, almost like a relation to the giraffe rig line.
Yeah, the control of the second head over the rest of the Pokemon.
Yeah. So like it's basically the opposite of like Giraffe, where like the head is like the bad guy, and the body, it's like body over the mind instead of mind over matter.
This is such a cool concept. It's almost like a Venom symbiote Pokemon a little bit, although instead of, it's like the opposite, where the symbiote is trying to restrain negative impulses. But I also just love how much you've stepped it up just from the last collaborative design that we did. I feel like this is an incredible marriage of a real-life animal concept and then something that does not exist in real life at all. And I love that. That's kind of my favorite thing about any Pokemon design. Any Pokemon design I really love does that, where it takes a design, that we're kind of familiar with visually, but then it ties in something super strange. And this does that, and I love it.
I also really like how massive it is.
It's a good
you can just
size.
tell you could sort of ride that Pokemon. And like I'd love to see in the next, like we just got Gen 9 revealed, right? Like I could see myself riding this thing, and that'd be so cool.
Wild.
The first thing that I thought of when I saw it was like a mummy. It's not what you were going for, but I think it still works because of the whole like release it and it comes back. So it does kind of have a little bit of an undead thing going.
Yeah, I really like this one.
I would use it.
Yeah, I would too.
Same.
For sure.
Yeah, it'd be hard to get that one off my team.
Thank you.
Also, like its ability. That's a good ability.
Reckless, yes, very fitting.
Oh, Moxie.
I think he meant Moxie, yeah.
Oh. Okay, so this prompt was so open-ended for me that I had no idea what to do with it. And I actually kind of started my process in a very different way than I normally do. Instead of coming up with a concept and then working out a design from that concept, I actually started with a process of just silhouettes. So these are just like, I just literally, without any idea in my mind, I just started like coming up with shapes, and this is something I almost never do, and I think it's something I need to practice a lot more, not just in my Pokemon designs, but in my character designs in general. But I was like, let's just do some crazy stuff, right? We're going from normal to abnormal. Normal types can be literally anything, so I was like, let's just get some ideas down. Let's just get some shapes and stuff.
You're godlike at these shapes too. Oh my god.
Thank you. So I picked a couple that I really liked. The one that stood out to me the most was the one on the top left here, the top left corner.
Oh.
And when I looked at it, I was like, it kind of reminds me of a rabbit, like a weird distorted rabbit. And I ended up finding out about this virus that I had never heard of before. Ooh. And this image I'm about to send you is a little gross. but it's called the Shope papillomavirus. And
oh my god.
Whoa.
I assume this is probably what like the jackalope came
It
from.
is, yes. So this is, I'd never heard of this before,
True.
but this is where the myth of the jackalope came from, where like, American settlers, when they were traveling across the country, would sometimes find rabbits that had this virus that made it grow what looked like horns all over its face. I didn't want this to just be the jackalope Pokemon though. Starting backwards from a silhouette helped me bring this design into a place that felt like its own thing, not an existing concept translated into the Pokemon style. I used traditional porcelain rabbit sculptures as inspiration for the colors. This is Shopshu, and
It's adorable.
And, it was a lot of fun trying to turn that weird silhouette and then combining it with this even creepier concept and then turning it into something kind of cute and a little benign looking.
There's like a lot of sort of detail to it for the base design. I'm like, there's a lot to look at. It's like
Yeah, like I'm really glad you showed us the silhouette because it's like I wouldn't be able to understand how you got these shapes without the silhouette. It's because they're so unique, but it's crazy how it works.
Yeah, and when you mentioned that you saw a rabbit in the silhouette, I was just kind of like, yeah, I guess, okay. but now that I see this, I totally see exactly where it came from.
But that's what's
really like
kind
it.
of cool about silhouette design is that like if you work from a silhouette into a concept, there's so many different ways you could do, you could take it. It's basically the host of a strange virus that only manifests in this Pokemon that makes it produce these kind of like hard horn-like protrusions on its face, and they're very minor on the first form, but as it evolves, you'll see those kind of become more prominent in its design and in its personality too.
I'm glad you decided to have it manifest already in the first design because I feel like people would have been like caught off guard if it was just like a normal cute rabbit and then all of a sudden it's like grotesque.
Yeah, right. And I wanted to get that middle ground. It's normal to abnormal, and already this is kind of like not super normal. So I was like, I gotta still have it at least be like kind of cute, little, not too crazy. But the evolution, I did get kind of crazy with.
nice. You love to hear it.
Yeah, but what it really reminds me of is like back in the day when Pokemon silhouettes would get leaked on like Korokoro, and then people would take that silhouette and like try to figure out what the Pokemon was.
Yeah, and then it's totally wrong.
And they thought Oshawott was like a platypus with an acorn on its head. Yeah, I remember
that's
that.
the most fun.
Yeah. Because the silhouette I chose for Shopshu's evolution was so bizarre, it took me some time to come up with a design that looked at least somewhat cohesive with the first form. The prompt normal to abnormal was elevated to another level with my design, as Shopshu doesn't look all that normal to begin with. Papillope, the evolution, had to look even more abnormal. Yes, a jackalope is abnormal, but it's still familiar imagery. I wanted this design to be more like Togetic or Chansey, where the design draws from some pre-existing visuals and abstracts them to create something entirely unique and incredibly bizarre. The addition of wing-like appendages and unnaturally shaped horns brought me to my goal of something really, really abnormal, in an awesome way. It's gonna get real weird.
Good.
This is Papillope.
Oh my god.
And
Whoa.
it's definitely one of the strangest Pokemon that I think I have designed so far. And again, this was, I kind of worked backwards from another one of the silhouettes.
Those green patterns are some of my favorite things I've ever
Amazing.
seen.
Yeah.
I'm glad you like those. That was actually at the end there. Like originally it was just like a clean, like rounded line dividing the black and the green on the horn. And I was like, I should break that up a little bit.
It gives me the like the Tapu kind of vibes. I think.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same way that I was reacting to yours a little bit there, Ron, when I was thinking about like how it's not a legendary Pokemon, it's not even particularly a very strong Pokemon, but it's just a rare Pokemon. It is a psychic rock type, because in this form, the virus has actually taken over its body and created these like calcified stone-like horn protrusions that not only sprout out of its head but also develop all the way down its ears and actually form like claw features on the end of its ears that it can use as like swiping attacks.
When I was looking at your last one, so I was gonna say, oh, so it's got no arms. That's interesting, but I didn't want to say it because I was just gonna be like, let's just see where it goes. And I was also like, what's going on with the thighs there? Like, is this gonna get wings somehow?
Yep.
And you managed to get wings into it.
And I did like a little side view just so, because it's kind of a weird design looking at it from the front, just to like clarify a little bit more like what it would look like if it was landed and what it looks like from the side.
One thing that is underrated that I feel like people who don't design Pokemon don't realize is like making unique eyes is very hard. So I think you did a good job with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't even try.
Back in the day, you only had like 2 or 3 eye designs, and like all of Generation 1 has almost the same eyes.
Yeah.
But nowadays
That's
you have
why Gen
a lot
1's
more
so
different
good,
stuff.
okay? That's a joke. That's a joke, comments. That's a joke.
Yeah, you're gonna get some flack for that one.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, like I was nervous when you said like Jackalope because I just finished making a Jackalope Pokemon that isn't revealed yet.
Oh.
But that's like a Jackalope. This is definitely not like that. So I'm relieved.
All right. For me, like a pure normal type Pokemon, it almost has to be a mammal. And I think you guys agree with me, judging by the
so
previous
far,
designs.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. I never noticed that. Yeah.
Normal type, probably like an early root kind of thing. That's where my mind went. And ultimately, I settled on an animal doing kind of an inversion.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
first thing that I thought of with an animal that does an inversion is a spotted skunk.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
But what makes it special, when it gets scared, it can do this handstand pose.
Wow, it's so cute. Look at that.
No. I'm trying to stop laughing.
He's doing his best. He's doing his best.
I started by drawing a normal cartoon spotted skunk, and then I slowly refined and simplified that design into something that looks more like a Pokemon. I decided to draw this one in 2 different poses so that you could really see its full range of motion and how it would behave in the overworld. Since brown is the standard normal type color and I wanted to make this guy look as normal as possible, that's the color that I stuck with for most of my process, but at the very end, at the last minute, I changed it to more of a gray color. I also edited the spots to make them look more like eyes, more like faces really. This is a Pokemon that uses the spots on its back to try to scare away predators. And even though this is pretty late in the game, I also felt the need to redesign the face. I felt like the face needed more personality, it needed to be more unique. So I gave it some hair, I also adjusted the shape of the eyes a little bit, and I put a patch of pink behind the eyes that'll reference something in the evolution. Here is Scoured.
2 different designs. That's crazy.
Yeah, I felt it was necessary to draw it in 2 different poses so that I could really show the movement and see how you might see it act in the overworld if you startle it, right?
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, so this is a Pokemon that's pretty much scared all the time, and so if you startle it or if it feels threatened, it'll do the handstand and show off these face patterns. So it tries to look bigger, tries to look scarier, but in fact, it is very scared.
Scoured. That is such a great name. Scoured.
Yeah. I don't know how you guys do these names, and that's just perfect.
I'm trying to guess what like the inversion would be. Huh.
Oh yeah, so I actually wanted to ask you guys, what do you think is gonna happen when it evolves?
Gosh.
Well, my gut instinct would be that it's super aggro, but it looks really cute.
Before I show you the evolution, I do have one more reference. Nice. So in Brazilian folklore, there's a creature called Curupira.
That's a scary creature.
It's basically like a forest spirit, but it has big red hair and its feet are turned backwards. You know, its tracks point the other way, so it distracts hunters and poachers, that kind of thing. So Scoured spends so much time upside down and being scared of everything that when it evolves, it flips. And it flips in more than one way. Most obviously, it flips its biology, changing what is its head and what is its tail, and also what is facing forward and what is facing backward. But it also flips its personality. It's not so scared anymore. Instead, now it likes to spend its time tricking and scaring others. The biggest challenge with this one was trying to figure out the eyes to get them to look kind of creepy, but also kind of mischievous without looking too silly, without just looking like googly eyes. I also ended up drawing this one from 2 different poses so that you can really see the patterns on its back and what it would look like from the perspective of someone that it's still hiding from, that it hasn't quite revealed its true nature to yet. That angle on the head was really tough to draw though. The late stage changes here were just to match the same changes that I made to Scoured. Here is the evolution.
Oh, I love that.
It's backwards.
Yeah, so the inversion is very complete.
Oh, wow, he got us.
See.
It flips front to back, head to tail, and it also flips its personality. So now it spends so much time being scared and so much time upside down, I guess. Now it is the one that spends time scaring others. It's kind of a trickster. What I really liked about this concept is imagining this walking on all fours so that it looks almost exactly like the pre-evolution. A whole bunch of them in like Legends, for example, and then there's this one that looks different, and you're like, is that a shiny?
And it is. It's the same color as the shiny.
Yeah, it's crazy. When you asked this, like, what do you think's going to happen with this one? And I was like, are those going to be up there in its tail? They're going to become its eyes, and these going to become its hands? Nah, no way. He can't pull it off. There's no way. And he's pulled it off. I actually really love that face. It's so like maniacal and like, but also just happy. I don't know. Like, it's really awesome.
The color scheme is perfect. It's really scary. I love it.
There's like personality to it everywhere.
Yeah.
It's not a face on its back, but it's the pattern and it's a face. It's like, oh, there's another face. And then it's got its original face is still its face. And it has a face.
The about face Pokemon. That is so clever.
About face. That is great.
I cannot take credit for that one. That was
no.
one of my viewers that helped me out with that.
Oh, hey, you know?
You do this on stream?
I did it on a private Patreon stream.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to see it run now. Like, it would probably look really creepy running.
Yeah, that'd look so creepy. So I have to ask, though, is the butthole a real butthole?
Oh, I was waiting. Am I going to mention it? Who's going to mention
No,
it?
without asking.
Well, I'll leave that to your imagination. But if you look in the stat screen at the moves, we do have Moonblast.
No!
We do have Fairy Wind.
Oh my god.
Oh, no. Come
And of course, Tailwind.
Oh, this is... You put too much effort into this.
Oh my gosh. All right, let's go. So, with this prompt, I did have the problem of where do you go with this? Because this could be absolutely anything. Normal into not normal type. But super strangely, I went to my friend's house, and my friend has a 3-legged cat, and they were talking about how when they were younger, the kids called it abnormal, and how that sucks, obviously.
That's so mean.
Yep.
But it's like this beautiful cat. I was like, I would like to somehow turn this cat into a Pokemon and give it what it deserves. You know what I mean? And I spoke to my uncle, and he's missing an arm as well.
Really?
And he said, as a kid, he was called abnormal. And I was like, how has this happened just now? Funnily enough, I've done a cat again, but actually it's not a cat, it's a fox. But the reference is a cat. So I really do have a theme, huh? So now I'm back on Dark Souls again.
Cats and Dark Souls.
One of my favorite characters from Dark Souls is called Arceus, and he fights with one arm.
Cool.
And also there's Future Gohan, he's just awesome as well. He has one arm.
I love Future Gohan.
Yeah. And there were 2 abnormal Pokemon that I wanted to pull from. One's very basic, which is Eevee, but obviously it's abnormal in the sense that it evolves, into whatever it wants.
Yeah, Eevee is like the epitome of normal to abnormal.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And then there's Zoroark, which I really like, but its ability is abnormal, where you throw it out into the field, and you don't see Zoroark, you see whoever's in the back of your party. I think that's how it works, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And that kind of bothers me because I really like its design, but I never get to see it when I use it. And I'm like, come on, man, I want to use this sort of. So I was like, all right, screw it. I'm pulling inspiration from that, and I'm gonna make a Pokemon out of it. So I started with some big ears, a big head, a massive tail, and a small chunky body. I wanted this Pokemon to have 3 legs instead of 4, and I started thinking this could be like some kind of offshoot of the Eevee line somehow. Maybe in a different time where they somehow evolved to be missing a leg. It's kind of headcanon, I don't know. These big floof shapes looked cool, but we're getting a little too majestic, so I decided to tone the features down a bit and make sure it's standing up so you can really clearly see that its front-facing leg is missing. The biggest challenge for this design was color. I was pulling color schemes from all sorts of normal types. Blue from Snorlax, white from Meowth, brown from Furret, grey from Starly, but I eventually landed on an all white with a pretty striking blue. I intentionally gave it an odd eye highlight location, and for now it has a bit of a frown, but I decided to change that up right at the end when we get to the lore of the Pokemon. Wait for it.
You've done it again.
The three-legged Pokemon.
Oh, it is. It's missing a leg. Positivity. Oh, that's a good ability.
Yeah. So it's all about the positivity. The Pokemon's positive attitude allows its stats to never be lowered. So I like building in the personality with their battle effects and stuff. So that's its ability.
Oh, that's good.
And it's just like a little white and a blue fox. Zera are always born with 3 limbs, but they live a full and happy life. They're able to run, jump, climb, and play just as well as any other Pokemon. And they can sometimes feel their missing limb. So my uncle was talking about the concept of the phantom limb. He can sometimes feel his arm.
I've heard about that.
Oh my god!
I figured that's where this was gonna go.
I didn't. Wow, this has the most potential ever now.
That is a great. Now I'm very excited for the second form. You've literally taken stories and people that you know and cats that you know from real life, and represented them here in such a positive. No pun intended, positive and exciting way, and I love that. It's just good vibes, you know.
I think this is my favorite body shape in Pokemon, where it's like big head, big tail, small body. I've come to love that a lot. So I'm glad you did.
The new starter, the new Sprigatito's kind of got that kind of going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Guess that's why it's my favorite.
Well, talking all positivity and niceness and positivity and niceness. However, the evolution doesn't necessarily go that way. I wanted to make a design that shared lots of physical features with the pre-evolution, but I wanted the color scheme and the personality to be much different. Taking inspiration from Arceus, like I said, this Pokemon stands up in a kind of eerie yet confident posture, and features like its tail and scarf get much larger and much more detailed. The eyes were super important. I wanted to take that weird central eye highlight and make it a unique feature of this Pokemon's eye styling, while really pushing the feeling of seriousness plus exhaustion. I originally wanted to give this Pokemon a sword to kind of make it a darker counterpart to my Pokemon in the last episode of this series, but I eventually bailed on that because it made no sense thematically here, and decided to fully focus in on the concept of the phantom limb. And I really like how this turned out. Oh god, the suspense is building again. Zeravi.
Yes. I thought that pose was amazing, so I'm glad you actually used it.
Ever since I did that fight in Dark Souls 10 years ago, I've just wanted to see it in everything. It's so so menacing and cool and confident as well.
Yeah.
So they were too often called abnormal by wild Pokemon, and decided to use the negativity of others to fuel their power. Zerave trained to use the power of their phantom limbs in battle. So somehow they've harnessed the power of this extra arm and can use it to fight. And also, it's said that if the Pokemon was treated better, it may evolve differently. So there may be an alternate side to this Pokemon completely.
I like that. You should definitely do that. If not for this video,
I wanted to do it, but I was like, no, wait, I have to stay to the rules. Don't break the rules.
To me, Ghost is the opposite of normal. So I was actually on purpose avoiding Ghost for mine, and I was kind of wondering who was going to be the one to do a Ghost type.
I can't really think of a ton of asymmetrical Pokemon off the top of my head. Obviously, Kyurem.
True.
But I want to see more. Clowitzer, there's another one. Clowitzer is asymmetrical.
Oh, yeah.
But I like it, and I don't know why Pokemon feel like they can't be asymmetrical all that often, but I would love to see it more, and this is such a great idea for that, and it's executed very, very well. I really like it.
Thank you.
Now I really want to know what the other form would be. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe it's just way stronger and bigger. I don't know.
The positive evolution for it would look unearthly, it would kind of look transcended, and it would just have 3 legs and kind of stand more like a tripod.
Well, if it's treated better, it wouldn't need the phantom arm.
I don't have the knowledge that you guys have of amazing, interesting animals and the lore and the patterns and stuff. All I, for whatever reason, have to pull from is epic cool thing I saw as a child. So all of my designs end up just being me trying to make the coolest possible thing I can.
I almost wish that it was even crazier. I feel like you could have made it the one arm even bigger and given it a big claw or something. Really go for that Dark Souls.
I actually did do that at one point.
Did you?
So I over there where you can see its arm is kind of weird and bent. It was actually this massive aura arm. I was like, oh no, I've done it on the wrong side, and I just couldn't make it work on the front because it just took up too much space.
Damn.
The glow is probably the signature thing that you do. I think that I really like.
That's true. Yeah, I've had that consistent.
But it works.
I have to say, I love the expression. It just looks so done.
Yeah, it's fed up.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to communicate. That's like and subscribe to the video, everybody.
Thanks for watching.
If you want to see part 3, I know we're all down.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Big time.
Yep, 100%. As soon as I start doing this, it's just like, oh yes, more is coming. I can't wait. I can't wait to watch the video like 40 times over, which I did, even though I was in it. It's so cringe.
It is. No, it's great to watch.